Sean here from Somm Wine Club, and I have got Somm wine for you. This is the 2023 Casa Marin Cartagena Sauvignon Blanc from the village of Lo Abarca in the San Antonio Valley of coastal Chile. This is part of the June Somm Wine Club box, and a winery that I've actually had the pleasure of tasting a bunch of wines from and meeting Marie-Louise Marin in Chile when I was there in 2016. This was the first property that we were introduced to. We had dinner with Marie-Louise and some other winemakers from Chile, and that was when I first tasted their wines. And I have been thinking about their wines since that time, so I'm excited that they are back available in BC again, and I can share the Sauvignon Blanc with you. So Marie-Louise Marin, who is the owner, and her son is now the winemaker, but when the winery started, she was the winemaker as well, is a true kind of trailblazer in Chile. So after graduating from the University of Chile with a degree in agronomy and viticulture, winemaking, worked for large corporate wineries around the country before deciding that she wanted to start her own winery in Lo Abarca, which is a village in San Antonio, set in coastal Chile. She was basically told by all of her colleagues and experts, like, it'll never work, you can't do it, it's too cold, you can't make great wine there, the climate's not right. She disagreed and did it anyway, and in 2000 became the first Chilean winery owner, female winery owner and winemaker in Chile, and is still, I think to this day, the only independent family female owner of a winery in Chile. So just on that metric alone, I was so impressed by her when I met. Like, I just love that I'm right and you're not, and this is what we're gonna do. And to be fair, the people who were telling her that you can't do it were not thinking forward in terms of what the potential of the region could be and what people would be willing to try from Chile. A lot of Chilean wine at the time was kind of mass produced and not very interesting, and wasn't really considering planting new areas or expanding. This was a fairly undeveloped area at the time, and she saw potential. So great, good, amazing for her, and amazing for Casa Marin and for us to get to enjoy it. So I remember driving from Santiago on the highway out towards San Antonio and Casablanca on the coast, and you drive through this tunnel on the highway, and there's a mountain ridge. Chile being a very long, narrow country, it's divided into three kind of segments from west to east. You have Costa, you have Entre Cordilleras, and you have Andes. Costa being on the coast, and there's a small mountain range. And then Entre Cordilleras means between the two mountains. It's all of the valleys. That's where the majority of wine in Chile is produced. And then you have Andes, which is kind of the foothills of the mountains going up into the Andes Mountains. And it is very cool out on the coast. The vineyard that she planted is only 4 kilometers away from the Pacific Ocean. And at this kind of southern Pacific Ocean, you have something called the Humboldt Current, which basically like shoots cold water across the South Pacific Ocean, and it slams into the coast of Chile, and that water is extremely cold. And so it keeps the temperature throughout the growing season pretty cool. It doesn't get above really usually like 25 Celsius during the hottest part of the growing season. But it also doesn't get too cold. It doesn't snow. It's too close to the water. So your whole growing season kind of exists between 10 Celsius and 25 Celsius, which is great for viticulture, as long as you're planting the right varieties and you are considering that in the way that you farm. So the Cartagena wines come from the highest parts of their vineyard in Lo Abarca, where it doesn't get frost. But they are fully exposed to the Pacific, so they get all of that salty ocean air and kind of influence of the cold currents coming out of the ocean. And it's exactly what I expected to smell like with Chilean Sauvignon Blanc, with very cool climate Sauvignon Blanc. This is 85% Sauvignon Blanc with 15% Sauvignon Gris, which is a related variety, similar characteristic. It's all done in stainless steel and has just so much of this kind of like jalapeno, lime zest, green apple, like English peas, grass, asparagus. It's everything that you love about like a fresh garden salad, uh, drizzled with like a vinaigrette. It's got this bell pepper note, that pyrazine characteristic that Sauvignon Blanc is so well known for. And I will admit that it can be divisive when it is in this intensity and quantity, because you either like that character or you absolutely do not like that character. I hope most of you like this characteristic in Sauvignon Blanc, and you are willing to understand how it can be useful and what these wines are made to be. Super zesty, like fresh lemon juice, fresh lime juice, like a very tangy, tart green apple, and all of that kind of juicy ripeness of the fruit uh, gives way to this salty, mineral rich character from their exposure to the ocean and that influence of the Pacific, and then this lingering, subtle green, herbaceous quality on the finish. That is just absolutely refreshing in every possible way. Your mouth is watering. There's so much flavor to it. They're really able to coax out a lot of complexity and intensity in the flavor of these grapes. Like, very impressive expression of Sauvignon Blanc, cool climate winemaking. And a delicious wine for so much of our like Pacific Northwest springtime. So get asparagus, get all of your like fresh greens, mustard greens, arugula, um, pea shoots, green peas. I really like doing like seared scallops with peas and pancetta. That's awesome, and that would be like an incredible pairing to go with a wine like this. You're playing off of the acidity cut through the fattiness of the scallop, that green element, the saltiness and kind of minerality. You can mirror that with the pancetta, the crispy guanciale. Use kind of whatever pork you want to use, but think about it like an elevated bacon wrapped scallops. But it doesn't just stop there. Like, this wine is super flexible with all kinds of green elements, whether that is salads, whether that's soups, whether it's ceviche, whether you're doing like stuffed fish, other seafood, green herbs like parsley or sage or tarragon, and doing like a rub on chicken or fish. Lots of potential, lots of deliciousness packed into a single bottle. And a hell of a wine made by a hell of a woman and her son, Felipe. But super excited to share Casa Marin's wine. I was like anxiously awaiting their arrival through customs and getting updates, being like, "Is it here yet? Is it here yet? Is it here yet?" So now it's here. Now it's in your box. Now it's hopefully in your glass soon. Enjoy the Casa Marin Cartagena Sauvignon Blanc, and we'll see you guys all next time.